Kotamashi, my red bag. The small ones, yeah. I'll go bring them. Hare Krishna, everyone. They told me this was a youth program, so I was thinking 10 or 11-year-olds. You're young adults, you're not youth. But according to our philosophy, Yovanam Cha, the spirit soul is eternally youthful, so it's okay, you fall into the category, you can stay. So the theme this evening is the adventures of a traveling monk. In other words, adventure. So of course, in our Vedic scriptures, every subject matter is covered. Even the proper way to live in this world. Generally we think of spiritual life as a way of life to get out of this world. That's the ultimate goal, rather than samsara, transmigration. Krishna says in the Gita, for one who has taken birth, death is certain. And for one who has died, birth is certain. So these are two things that are guaranteed in life. So that means, we say in French, metamorphose. It means transmigration of the soul. That's the goal of life. We need material knowledge. I can understand looking at your faces. You're all intelligent young men, like IT, intelligent. You have a different meaning for IT, information technology, but IT means intelligent. So that knowledge is required. How to live in this world in the most practical way so we can meet the demands of the body. Education, marriage, career, retirement. We can't ignore this. But according to the great sages of yore, that's simply a platform, a foundation for the higher purpose of life. Just like this temple. It's something like, 20 stories. I'm somewhere up there on the 15th floor or something. But before we built these various floors, they built a very deep foundation, yes? So the practical things we learn in this world, from the cradle to the grave, are meant to be a foundation, a proper foundation, so that we can execute the real business of life. Sarva dharmam parichacha mamekam saranam braja aham tam sarvapapebhyo moksisimasutaha. How to come to the understanding of who we actually are beyond this temporary body as a spirit soul. How to understand the Supreme Soul. Aham sarvasya pavavo matta sarvam pavartate. Krishna says that in the Gita, he's the source of all that is material and all that is spiritual. We don't have to speculate. It's right there in scripture, in Shastra. And it is repeated and demonstrated by rishis, sages, and yogis. That's the purpose of life. We call it in the West religion, you call it here dharma. Religion comes from, well, the word reguleo, and the word religion, it's a Latin verb. It means to reconnect. Reglio, Latin verb. Regulo, religion. It means to reconnect with the divine, with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just like yoga. Yoga in Sanskrit has the same meaning. To reunite, to connect. To connect with what? The Supreme Personality of Godhead. From where we've come. We just haven't appeared from nothing. We have personality, so the Absolute Truth must also have personality. Otherwise, where does our personality come from? So 2 fields of education. Life's about balance, learning how to live in this world. It's called Niti Shastra, Chanika Pandit. He teaches us the most practical way to live in this world, so we're not so disturbed. You're going to be disturbed. Every stage of life, there's a different set of problems. Infancy, teenage, young adult, middle age, growing older, old age, life throws at you different set of problems. You can't avoid. Science and technology can make life a little easier. We'll give credit. Science and technology, I don't have to scream. I've got a microphone. I don't have to squint my eyes. I have glasses. There's a video recording to broadcast. Science and technology can make life a little easier, but it can't solve the basic problems that we face. What are the basic problems we face? All mankind, through the eons of time and ad infinitum. Birth, disease, old age, and death. Think of them like 4 walls. Birth, disease, old age, and death. 4 walls. Because in the Gita, Krishna describes that the material world's like a prison house. And you think of a prison, of course nowadays they're quite complicated, but generally 4 walls. And think of a prison that's maximum security. Means you can't get out. I know some prisons, I don't think anyone will ever get out. They're so sophisticated. So Krishna describes this world as a prison house with those 4 walls. You can't escape birth, you can't escape disease, you can't escape old age. They're saying that one day we'll conquer old age, we'll find, but all those people who are working on that program, they're dying like flies. You can't conquer death. So it's a prison house. And we're meant to get out of here. One of our great saints, Narottam Das Thakur, he says, here I am in the middle of a Holocaust. It's a good word, historically now. Here I am in the middle of a Holocaust trying to enjoy myself. This is foolishness. It's a painful existence. And Brahmana is taken as the intelligent class, but it's not, according to the true Vedic science, it's not just one is born into a Brahmin family, a Brahmin caste. One can elevate himself to become a Brahmana by proper diksha, mantra, and lifestyle. So Brahmana can't tolerate two things. He can't tolerate a place where there's no water, and he can't tolerate pain. It's described in the Varaha Purana. A Brahmana can't tolerate, if there's no water, in pain, because he's very sensitive. He lives in the mode of goodness. He can't tolerate painful situations. And a Brahmana by nature is intelligent, and our spiritual master said, intelligence means to see things in the proper perspective. That's intelligence. To see things, tattvadarshini, as they are. And what is everything? This world? Krishna describes in Gita. In a short sentence, he summarizes the whole material existence. One of our saints said, eloquence is truth spoken concisely. That's eloquence. Not a long-winded lecture. We fall asleep after 2 hours. Eloquence is truth spoken concisely. So concisely, in a few words, a summary. What is this world with all the phantasmagoria of this world, especially now in the last century? Krishna says, Dukkalayam shashvatam. It's a temporary place. You can't argue that. Full of suffering. You can't argue that. So that's not our natural position. We were created to enjoy as a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's a wonderful position, to be the servant of a glorious master, a benevolent, loving master. That's something very nice. That's how we were created. Just like when you have children, why are you having children? For pleasure. Of course, when they start screaming at 2, the terrible 2s, it becomes a little bit, you have to be very tolerant. But we expand our family for pleasure. So the Lord was originally one, but he expanded as the living entities for the purpose of pleasure. There's an abode of pleasure. It's called Vaikuntha. In Sanskrit, this world is called Kunta. Kunta, if you take the Sanskrit dictionary, it means anxiety. So this is a world of anxiety. Yeah, of course, there's some pleasure. I'm not fanatic. But it's a world of duality. Up and down, black and white, yes and no, boy and girl. Happiness? Of course. Weather's great now, 28 degrees. It's not summer. But two sides of the coin. The cricket match, or the football match. Heads or tails. So that's the situation. That's an intelligent person. He sees like that. But we were created to always be happy, just like you extend your family to be happy. It's a nice analogy. So are we always happy? Hello? We're not always happy. So what does it mean? We're living an artificial life. We're strangers in a strange land. We have to go back to our natural state, like water. The natural state of water is liquid. And in extreme situations, water becomes vapor or water becomes ice. If it's too cold, water becomes ice. If it's too hot, water becomes vapor. But as soon as the extreme situation changes, it comes back to water, liquid. So we're in extreme situations. So-called happiness comes and goes. That's not happiness. Like water off a duck's back or water off the lotus flowers, there for a moment and go. And the other extreme is distress or trauma or tragedy or war. Those are the two situations. So we have to go back to our original nature, like water, liquid. What is our natural nature? Jiver swapoya krishnera nityadas. We're all servants of the divine. We're all servants of the Supreme. We're all servants of God. And that is where you'll be happy. Why? Because Krishna is described as, God's described as the reservoir of all pleasure. When you read the Bhagavad Purana, the Vishnu Purana, the Bhagavatam, Grantaraj Bhagavatam, you see Krishna's just enjoying in Vrindavan. So much so that he allows himself to be addressed as a friend or a child or a lover. This is Goloka Vrindavan. And the spiritual energy covers the inhabitants of Vrindavan. They forget he's God so that they can play with him and dance with him. The spiritual world is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. It's described in Brahma Samhita. In the spiritual world, every step is a dance. Every word is a song. The flute is the constant companion, and every day is a festival. When I speak like this in the Western countries, they say, oh, this is some utopia. This is some mythology. This is something written by some, yogis on the wall of a cave. This is not the real world. No, this is not the real world. Birth, death, old age, and disease. If that's your real world, I feel sorry for you. There is another world. Prastasmatu bhavanyo vyakto vyaktat shanatana. Shanata means eternal, beyond this world which is sometimes manifest and sometimes not manifest. There's another world, Krishna says. And that's where we belong. We're strangers in a strange land. We can coin a phrase, we're atmas, atma means soul. We're atmas in transit. We're atmas in transit. Brahmanda Brahmati Konya Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasad Bhai Bhakti Lat Bij. Since we fell from grace, since we fell from the spiritual world, we've been transmigrating from universe to universe. It's a bigger picture, like you have a drone. They're using drones. This big drone over the earth, big satellite of the universe, the creation. What have you been doing? You've been transmigrating from universe to universe, from species of life to species of life, to body to body. That's your history. People like to know the grandma, great-grandma, great-grandma. You can even do it through astrology. Nowadays they have those computer programs. You can see your ancestry going back hundreds or maybe 1,000. Your Gotra. What's your Gotra? Vashishta Muni, your Gotra. Achyuta Gotra. In India we have this ability. But what is it? It's just the changing. So it's not a permanent situation, so we shouldn't get too attached. We should take what is necessary to keep body and soul together and focus on getting out of here, going home. There's no place like home. We don't want to be like the person who, is it like a traveling businessman? He checks into a hotel in Hyderabad and he goes up into the room. He's not satisfied with the facilities, the wooden floor, the old dirty carpet. So he calls up some marble company and he says, I just checked into this hole. I want all marble in this room, all marble. So they come, they put, that first-class marble from Rajasthan. Then he sees the curtains, they're all ragged. I want some, beautiful curtains here. I want Persian rugs. I want the spigots in the bathroom to be gold. I want chandeliers, and it's very busy. It's all, and I want a bathtub. You don't have bathtubs, you have buckets. I'm elderly, so I like to soak in a bath. So I came here and they said, "Wow, we have the VIP room for you for the sannyasis." I said, "Yeah, okay." And I said to someone, "Is there a bathtub there?" And she said, "What's a bathtub?" I said, "It's okay." She said, "Yeah, we have everything you need." So then I came into the room and I walked in the bathroom, which is as big as this table. And she said, "There's the bathtub." It was a bucket with a little So this man changed everything in the hotel room, and he finding under silk sheets, silk pillow, one of those mattresses that, when you lay down, it foam, it goes around your body, so you're feeling very comfortable. And the music was playing on a new stereo system. He had internet, new powerful internet, installed. Everything was there. Woke up the next morning, around 11 o'clock in the morning, and the receptionist downstairs said, "Sir, you have to clear the room. This room has, been reserved for someone else. We just had, I told you, only one night. Someone else, we have to clean the room." And the man say, no, I spent so much money, so much effort, so much time, marble, silk, gold, ivory. "Sorry, sir, you have to go." "No, I'm not going." "Okay, we'll call the police. We'll call Yamaraj." So like that, this is what we're doing. Let's look at the big drone, we'll call it Maha drone. Very high up. This is what we're doing. We need facility. There's nothing wrong with education, with career, with a nice home, nice family. That's required, but that's not the goal. I gave the example today, we're like sailors on the ocean. In the old days, on the wooden ships, the sailor was famous if he could polish the brass, varnish the deck, climb up the mast and fix the sail, with the way famous. Proud he was a sailor on the ocean. But that sailor never thought for a moment, while on the ocean, that he was a creature of the water. Who feels comfortable in the ocean? Fish, whales, dolphins. They live under the water. They don't need oxygen. Of course, some of the mammals, they come up and spout, but all the sea creatures, they feel comfortable, but he's a mammal. Although he's on the ocean and he's very responsible to his duties, he never thinks, "I'm a creature of the water." He's always a little uncomfortable in that foreign environment. And although he's doing his duties, where's his mind? On the land. He's thinking, everything's going to be safe, everything will be okay when I reach my natural habitat, which is land. And when he sees the land ho! Like, Haribol! No, he didn't say Haribol. So, that's our position. We should go through life responsible, but sarva dharmam paricharanam. Dharma means responsibility to your body, to your family, to your village, to your country, to the environment, to the world. Do we want to leave the present environment to our grandchildren and they have to suffer? No. We have to be responsible. But ultimate dharma is to surrender to Krishna, and by surrendering to Krishna, you go home. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tiyajate kalevam. Whatever mentality you have at the moment of death, that will determine your next birth. So gradually, life is a balance. We need time to chant Hare Krishna, which is the Yuga Dharma. We need time to study the Gita, time to study the Bhagavatam, time to study Chaitanya Charitamrita, to fill our mind with that, not just videos and Instagram and world news and politics, where it's all coming at us. You have to find time. You have to be disciplined. Disciple comes from the word discipline. Because when you take Diksha, your guru, he instructs you in discipline. No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. These things are not favorable for spiritual advancement. This is austerity. Austerity means to undertake some inconvenience for the purpose of spiritual advancement. So we do it. And thank the Lord, it's not so difficult. Vasishtha Muni, he meditated for 60,000 years to become fully enlightened, to know who he was, who was God, Bhagwan, what is his intimate relationship with Bhagwan. 60,000 years. He's still revered even today. Even in this country where so much imitation of Western culture is taking place. Still Vasishtha is famous. And Prabhupada said, our Guru Maharaj said one time, what was achieved by Vasishtha Muni, 60,000 years meditating on the ice flows of the Himalayas, the same result can be achieved every day, the rest of your life, by chanting 16 rounds. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. So that's real adventure. Adventure is the adventure of going home. Just like if you know anything about breeding horses, when I was young, I used to help breeding horses. At least I worked on a ranch in Wyoming when I was 12 till I was 18. I'd work with horses, and you know, you saddle them up in the morning, you brush them down, you feed them, and then you go out for riding with the, you know, round the forest, etc. The horses go, you got to kick them a little bit, but when it's time to come home, you don't have to kick them. Woo, zoom, they go home, because they go home to the shelter of the barn. Lots of fresh water and nice, soft grass we provided for the horses. So the horses love turning around. Woo! I'd have to hold on. One time I had a horse who didn't like me. You know, they have their personalities. Sometimes she'd try to bite, sometimes she'd try to kick, and I'd kick her back. Yeah, go on. So one time we turned around with 10 or 15 men and women I was taking through the beautiful countryside of Wyoming. My horse was very intelligent. She galloped and galloped and galloped, and there was one tree that was a little bent over. There was a branch. It just fallen over in the wind. Horses are spirit souls. They have some intelligence. The branch was there. She knew it was there. It was about this high on me, on the horse. She galloped, and I saw it coming. Whoa, stop. She didn't want to stop. Boom! I flipped off the back of the onto the ground. That was her adventure, throwing me off her back. So we all are interested in adventure. We love to hear, we like to experience adventure, or at least we like to hear about adventurous tales of others in the form of theater, novels, movies. Why is this? Why is everyone romanticizes about adventure? Because of the basic principle of material existence. And what is the basic principle of material existence? Well, there was a survey done last year in my country. It answers that question. It was a survey. They went around and asked some thousands of people. And the result of the survey showed that people are happy 5% of the time. They're unhappy 5% of the time. And they're bored out of their minds 90% of the time. Why? Because material life's boring. There's only 4 basic activities. There's some subcategories, but there's 4 basic activities we do as human beings. What are they? Eating, sleeping, sex, and fighting. You know, fighting with sticks or atomic bombs, whatever. These are the 4 types of basic activities. But they don't bring lasting pleasure. It's more like, you know, because we're not the body, right? That's the first philosophy, Hare Krishna 101, when you first come to the temple. We're not the body. So those basic activities are addressing the senses of the body. They're ignoring the spiritual energy, the spark of life, the Atma, the soul within. It's like polishing the car without feeding the driver. It's like polishing the cage without feeding the bird. So we get some relief. On a hot bath, we get some relief, but we don't really get satisfaction. So material life becomes boring. It's like chewing the chewed, or old wine. That's not a good analogy here. Old wine in a new bottle. Chewing the chewed. I remember when I was a kid, we weren't allowed to chew bubble gum in class, but I found, grade school so boring that, what they taught us, okay, I got it one day, but they kept teaching over and over. So to keep awake, I'd chew gum. And when the teacher would come close, I'd put the gum under the table. How are you doing, student? Oh, very nice. You're not sleeping? Yes, I don't sleep. What you're saying is so interesting, ma'am. So the next day, I'd come to school and I'd take the gum from under the table and I'd put it back. I'm a kid, right? For 30 days, that gum would be there, and it kind of, chewing the chewed. So one result of this boring existence that we have is we want adventure. So when the weekend comes, we drive out of town, we go someplace, or when the holidays come, we try to go somewhere, have an adventure, at least have a vacation. So my point is the spirit of adventure is within us all. And why? Because we're part and parcel of Krishna. And the spirit of adventure is in the Supreme Person as well. How do we know? Bhagavad Gita 10:37. Krishna says, I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid I am the splendor. I am victory. I am adventure. And I am the strength of the strong. This adventuresome spirit comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, therefore, it's in us. It's in the Supreme. Krishna has a very adventuresome spirit. When you think about adventure, what comes to mind? You get out of your comfort zone and you go to some faraway place. Like, I'm going to go to Tahiti or New Zealand or Canada. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to go on an adventure. I'm going to go as far away from this place as I can go. So Krishna has the same spirit. We have it because it's there in God. That's what he does. He goes to a far away place. Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna's in Vaikuntha, beyond the Viraj river which divides the spiritual and material worlds. He lives in Vaikuntha, means the official kingdom of God. He lives in the topmost planet, Goloka Vrindavan, the planet of cows. Krishna's father, Nanda Maharaj, has 900,000 cows. So Jiva Goswami says, what is Goloka? It's a planet of cows. I was speaking with a Christian priest recently in Europe, and he said, we call the supreme destination heaven. In your religion, what do you call it? I said, Goloka. He said, what does that mean? What does your heaven mean? I say, it means a planet of cows. He said, heaven is a planet of cows? He didn't get it. Anyway, we know. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya. Krishna loves cows. It's his favorite animal. I spent a lot of time in Africa, traveling and teaching Bhagavad Gita and chanting Hare Krishna with the African people, Rwanda, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Madagascar, South Africa. That's our process, chanting, dancing, and feasting. African people, they like to dance. Let's do the Hare Krishna dance, they say. Let's have the Hare Krishna food. And one of my good friends is he passed away recently, but King Goodwill. I met him in the hospital. I had an operation and I was lying in the hospital bed recovering, and his daughter was in the next room. She had some medical procedures. So he came into my room by mistake. He saw me lying there. And he asked someone who I was, and they said, I'm a sannyasi, a renounced monk. I travel the world, etc. So he came over and he said, a man like you should not be in a situation like this. You should be out preaching to the people. I thought, that's nice. He said, I'm a good Christian. I said, oh, well, our faiths are very similar. He said, what do you call the good Lord? I said, Krishna, the original name of God. I said, what do you call God? He said, Akula Kula. You know, the whole hospital reverberated. He's very, Akula Kula. I said, wow. Well, what does Ankula Kula mean? He smiled and said, Ankula Kula means God. It means he who owns the most cows. So he said, I saw your people. They were singing your name of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna. He couldn't get it right. He said, I can't do that. So I said, okay, we'll sing your name of God. So I called some devotees in. I was lying in the hospital bed, mridangas and kartals. I started leading. Akulan kula, akulan kula, akulan kula, akulan kula, akulan kula, akulan. You don't have to sing it, it's okay. But all names of God are empowered. Thy kingdom come, they will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's the Holy Bible. And that will take place by the chanting of God's name. So I chanted very, Akula Nkula. Krishna, get me out of this hospital. Akula Nkula. So that verse, Paritranaya Sadhanam, it shows that Krishna has the adventurous spirit. He leaves. How far away is the kingdom of God? How far away is Vaikuntha? You can't even imagine, even with your computer, you're all IT. None of you could come out, how far away it is. Krishna comes. Jai Sri Ram! Jai Sri Ram! Jai Sri Ram! He comes to Ayodhya. There he was an adolescent. You saw the beautiful murti that the sculptor made? The beautiful temple that Modi opened? The whole of India was just chanting Jai Sri Ram. That's an adventure. To come to leave your comfort zone, what could be more comfortable than Goloka? It's self-effulgence. Everything's provided by Purnamasi for whatever Leela is going to take place. She arranges the colors, the pastime, the place, the birds, the bees, the mood. Purnamasi. To come to this place, Dukkalaya Mashashvatam, a temporary place of suffering. How kind he is. How kind he is. So this reveals the adventurous spirit of the Lord. He comes. And for the adventure of spreading Krishna consciousness. That's why he comes. So we can dovetail, this is a word coined by Prabhupada, we can dovetail our adventurous spirit, not by going to some far-off country to dance with the pretty girls and drink the liquor and the wine and see Big Ben and the Eiffel Tower. No. We can dovetail our adventurous nature very simply by taking up the same adventure as God. Like Father, like Son. He's the Supreme Father. We're the sons and daughters of the Lord. We can imitate him in one sense. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. We can take the adventuresome spirit and go all around India, Africa, South America, Amazon jungle, Canada, Russia, China. I just came back from China, spent a month in China. In the Chinese language, there's no word for God. It's a communist country. They don't believe in God. Their worship is worship of ancestors. Like we also have a concept of the ceremony where you go to Gaia and you offer Pitra to the to the forefathers. I guess Krishna doesn't want me to preach about, worshiping the ancestors. Or maybe that's the Chinese government getting on my case. They did follow me around. It was a real adventure. Every program I did, I could see the secret service. They're pretending to chant Hare Krishna, but they're taking photographs, writing, calling their superior. So it's an adventure. So we can do the same. We can do what the Lord did here. His adventure was to deliver his devotees, defeat the atheists, and establish Dharma. In my experience as a traveling monk for the last 52 years, there's no greater adventure than delivering the conditioned souls of this world. Because that's the greatest challenge. And because it's the greatest challenge to deliver people from avidya, ignorance, it's the greatest adventure. The most difficult thing is to enlighten people spiritually in this world. Because let's be honest, people have come here to forget God. That's why we come here. Sorry, we've come here to forget God. We want to be God. We want to be the supreme enjoyer. So to convince people about the existence of God, you should surrender to him. When Prabhupada, our spiritual master, was approaching America on the Jaladuta boat, he told us one time, he was thinking, when I get to America and I tell the American people to become God conscious, to become religious, you have to stop eating meat. You say that to someone in Texas. No meat eating, no gambling. Las Vegas, sin, we call it the Sin City. No sex outside of marriage. You're cuckoo. No intoxication. No beer, no wine, no Johnny Walker liquor. Prabhupada was thinking, if I tell them that and you have to chant this name of God as we know him in India, they'll say, old man, you take your message and go back to India. He was thinking. But because Krishna consciousness is natural for the soul, it's not artificial. This is not an Indian movement. ISKCON, your culture is not Indian. It's from the spiritual world. Golok Prem Dan, Harinam Sankirtan. This movement has come from the spiritual world. This is how people dress in the spiritual world. This is how people dance. This is how they eat. This is how they talk. This is how they walk. This is how everything. This is not an Indian movement. This is a movement which appeared in India because in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it says the most pious people in the universe take birth in India so they can take to this process and spread it all over the world. Remind everyone, you're not French, German, American, black, white, yellow, man, woman, everything in between. I'm trying to be politically correct. You are an eternal spirit soul. That's why this movement is spreading like wildfire. I can tell you, in Ukraine we have 17 or maybe 20,000 initiated devotees. In Russia, 50,000 Brahmin initiated devotees. Everywhere I go around the world, it's like the Hare Krishna explosion. Why? You don't see a Chinese explosion around the world, a Mexican explosion around the world, a little bit of an American explosion around the world because it's pure sense gratification. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you die. Enjoy! And the American youth they're not falling for that anymore. They're understanding there's something higher. Yoga's becoming popular, meditation's becoming vegetarian, Bhagavad Gita. They're not accepting that. So therefore all the American youth, intelligent youth, they're flying to India, to go to Vrindavan, to go to Rishikesh, to go to Ayodhya, to go to Srirangam, to go to Tirupati. And here in South India, all the intelligent young men and boys and girls, they're flying to Silicon Valley in America. And the planes are crossing like this, and the Indians are seeing the Western boys and girls dressed in dhotis and saris going to India, and we're looking at you in pants and shirt going to make money in Silicon Valley. Oh my God. Nelson Mandela, I met him, we were actually quite close. We did some big programs together. He wrote a book, Cry, My Beloved Country, because of apartheid. Horrible, sinful, demoniac ruling that the white people had in the Afrikaners, they were called, in English, they had in South Africa. It's called apartheid. He came and he stopped all that. It was a big struggle, and he wrote that book before he was able to correct it. It was called Cry, My Beloved Country. So sometimes when I come to India and I see how, India is losing its traditional values, losing its dharma, using its religion, I think, cry, my beloved country, because I'm your adopted son. I think like that. I gave up that culture to embrace this culture. Someone says a foreign culture. That's not foreign. It's natural. So we can imbibe what is Krishna consciousness, and Krishna likes adventure, to go to a faraway place and do what he does, deliver people from material existence. He likes that. And if you want to do that, he'll empower you to do it. Kali Kalera Dharma Krishna Nama Sankirtana Krishna Shakti Vinanahe Tara Paravartana. The fundamental religious system in the age of Kali is the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Unless one is empowered by Krishna, one cannot propagate the Sankirtan movement. It's like if you grab hold of a live wire during a storm. So you can become a live wire, you can become a representative. It's called Gaur Shakti. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivindam. You can become their empowered representative. They will bless you to keep the movement going. The movement started 5,000 years ago when Krishna came. And it became rejuvenated 500 years ago when Mahaprabhu came. And they came and they left. But you can be their ambassador, you can be their representative, no matter who you are. By taking up this movement and speaking the Gita, living the Gita, setting the example, Krishna will empower you. There is no greater adventure. Otherwise, we just have to go back to living a life of, there's a famous poet, he studied Western culture. He said, what is Western culture? A lonely life of quiet desperation. A lonely life. It's impersonal Western culture. A lonely life of quiet desperation. Why not take up the service of the Lord? Become empowered by Him. I can use my own humble, I'm just a tiny jiva, but Prabhupada told me, Indradyumna, you preach boldly and you have faith in the holy names. I was 19 years old. You go to France and open a center. Prabhupada, I don't speak French. It does not matter. But how will I make devotees? You find someone who speaks English, you make him into a devotee, then he'll translate for you. And you collect millions and millions of dollars and build a temple. Prabhupada, the only job I ever had was, selling shoes in a shoe store. So do not worry, Krishna will help you. So, I can share a few adventures with you. of the adventurous spirit of spreading Krishna consciousness. I mean, there's so many. I've been keeping a diary for 20 years, and it's called Diary of a Traveling Monk. And every couple of months I'd keep a diary, and every few months I'd print the diary. There's like 15 or 20 volumes. Actually, they're online. I have a website called narottam.com, and you can go there and read all the diary chapters online. Full of adventure. So nice. So I could spend maybe 20 days speaking nonstop about adventures, but just like if you take a drop of the ocean and you taste that, you can understand what the whole ocean is like. So I'll leave you with a couple of adventures here, just so you can take up that adventurous spirit. One of my favorites was in France. Voilà, vive la France. I didn't learn much French, but just to get people interested to hear from me for a few moments, I would always go on Sankirtan. I was a Grihastra at that time in the 70s. Nice pressed kurta, nice folded dhoti, my sandals, big kantemala like this, shaved my head every day. When I was young, I had long sika going down to my back. And I'd wear big tilak like Ramanujacharya, Gaudiya, but I'd make it really fat going up like big right to the tip of my nose, like Bhakti Vikash Maharaj, right down like that. And I'd always wear the garlands the deities wore previously, Radha Parasishvara. So I had a Sankirtan bag that was like a mirrored bag. So I really stuck out on the street, and I'm tall, and the French people are a little smaller, so you could see me from a mile away. And I was happy fulfilling the order of my guru. So I'd be a big, tall American standing on the street. Bonjour, parlez-vous English? No. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Book, $100. No $100. Okay, $50. Oh, they're looking. I take the money out of their purse, put it in my pocket, and give them the book. I had some techniques, But I figured it would be easier if I went into the office buildings, because you didn't have to wait for people to stop. They're all working at their desk like you do, your IT, working at your desk, right? So I would go on the Champs-Élysées. This is the heartbeat of France, the Arc de Triomphe. You've seen? The Arc de Triomphe is like the Eiffel Tower, very famous. Big, broad avenue. And all the important companies of the world have their big offices there. 10, 15, 20 stories high. I look at them and I drool. If I can get in there, I can do a lot of Bhagavad Gitas. But maximum security. You had to have a card to get in. They take your fingerprint. You had to have a short interview with a security guard. You had to be escorted upstairs. But I saw that when the delivery trucks came, they would go into the underground area with the delivery trucks. And from there, the delivery people would put their delivery items, and someone would come down on an elevator. I saw it on a video. And they take the products and take them upstairs. Aha! So I'd load up my book bag with 50 Bhagavad Gitas and a big packs of incense. We had our own incense business, and then the incenses were blue, green, yellow, and red. And sometimes I'd do Sankirtans to make sure that I didn't approach a person the second time. I'd always take a stick of incense in the beginning and say, "This is very nice, would you like to buy some incense?" And then there'd be a red line there. Or a blue line. And then I'd try to sell a book. So if somebody, came down the street, they had a red line, I wouldn't approach them again. So here I am with my incense and my Bhagavad Gitas, and the delivery truck slows down to go down into the garage, and I jumped on the back. And I hold on to the back the truck. When the door would open, this is adventure. And it'd go inside, and as soon as it stopped, because it was kind of dark inside, I'd run and hide behind a pillar. And then the delivery man, they'd unload all the office supplies and the paper and the whatever was being delivered. And then they'd back out and the door would close. I'd be alone in this dark underground parking lot, and I saw the elevator, and I started drooling. And I went in the elevator, and I saw there were 15 floors. I pushed floor 15. Got up to floor 15. It opened up. Lo and behold, a whole room this big with 50 secretaries, all working typewriters. We didn't have computers. So I'd walk up. Bonjour, madame. Parlez-vous anglais? I'd find someone who spoke English. Yes, I speak English. Yes, I'm speaking English. Can you help me? I'm a poor monk. I've just come back from India with some delicious commodities. Like what? I said, this nice smelling incense. So I would like to sell, and the girls are all bored out of their minds, all day. Here's this tall, handsome, when I was young, handsome American boy, 19, 20 years old, with a shiny, book bag, a beautiful shiny book bag. And, a little exotic. And she'd take me to, one desk. This is in French. Ça c'est un Américain. Américain, il parle un petit peu français, and il l'encens. So I take the incense and I put it under the secretary's nose. Red, yellow, green. And they'd buy the incense. And I'd say, tell them I have something more important. It's a book about how to become free from stress and anxiety. It's a book from India. It's 5,000 years old. And it costs, something I'd say in francs. So personal dealings are the best. So they'd buy the incense, and then I'd talk a little bit, and then they'd buy the Gita. That first day, I sold 30 Gitas to 50 secretaries. When I left, no one was typing. They're all reading Bhagavad Gita. So I thought this was great. I went back down to the basement because I'd also come on the truck with 2 boxes of Gitas. I'm holding on to the truck and these big boxes of Gitas. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Then I put the Gitas behind the pillar. I had to go back down and get more. Then I went to the 14th floor and I came out. Oh my God, this is Svargalok. Look at all those ladies there just working and totally bored. And again, I found someone who spoke, and they were very, accommodating because, I sold 20 Bhagavad Gitas. Went back down, got more Bhagavad Gitas. 13th floor, 12th floor, 11th floor. On the 10th floor, I was halfway through my ecstatic day of distributing Bhagavad Gitas when all of a sudden the elevator opened up, and there's this big security guard, like he's actually the manager of the whole building. He says, I'll just translate in English, "What in the world do you think you're doing, young man?" And I froze. He started coming for me. "I'm going to throw you out on your ears." So he was pretty big, kind of fat guy. So he came to the table. I started running around the table, and he started running after me. I was fast. When I was how do you call it? I used to in school, in high school, I was the distance running. I could run, 2 miles like the wind. So I said, "Try to catch me." He got really angry. We went around a few tables. Finally, he calls for help. So all of a sudden, whoop, the door opens. 2 more guys, bigger than him. So then I jumped on a table. And they didn't know what to do. And I jumped from one. The girls are cheering me. Yeah, get away from these guys. I've got a whole crowd, I'm jumping from table to table to table. Finally, I jump off a table. I run to the elevator. It takes time for the doors to close, right? I push the button, and these three guys are running at me. I'm going, Krishna, please. You say in Bhagavad Gita, your time, so hurry up. And just as they arrived, boom, the doors closed. Just as it was closing, I went, na-na-na. It's not a very Brahminical thing to do, but I just had to do it. Bye-bye. And I went down to the third floor. So they were searching, 9, 8, 7. I was some diplomacy there. So finally, they got to the third floor, and now there were 5 of them. And on that floor, there were 2 elevators on either side, and they were so eager to get me. So by that time, I was just finishing up the floor. I had like tons of money in my pockets, and my bag was getting less, and all the girls had different colors on their, like a rainbow effect now, and they all came at me. This time I went under the table, and these were larger desks because it was it's like kind of like a meeting room, like a conference room. So I went under, and they're trying to catch me, and I'm going here and coming out here, going into the table. Ha ha ha! You guys! They were so angry. So then I went down. Instead of the elevator, because I figured they'd probably have somebody waiting at the elevator downstairs, I went down the stairs, and they didn't think of that. So then I climbed back up to I was on the third floor, so I went to the second floor. And they're all going upstairs, and they don't know where to find me. This took about over 2 hours. You can imagine? This is a high-class, very important business company. I'm taking time from all the people working. I'm selling so many. I think that day I sold 75 Gitas. All my incense was gone. I had money packed in there. I'm in bliss. And I'm on the first floor, which means in America, there's the ground, and then or Europe, there's the ground, and then there's the first. I thought, just one more. Krishna, please don't let them find me here. They found me. 12 of them. It took 12 of them to get me down. But they came in, and they surrounded the tables. One guy went under the table. Just in case I went under the table, he was there ready to get me. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I surrendered. I went, Jai Bhagavan Narasimhadev Ki! And they grabbed me. And the big guy, he was perspiring, his clothes were wet, he was shaking in anger. He grabbed me. And I'm 6 feet tall, that was 90 kilos, 100 kilos. He picked me up like that, big guy, and he carried me down the stairs, squeezing me. And we got to the bottom, and there was the reception. There was maybe 10 secretaries reception. He dropped me on the ground. Then he straddled me. Said, you stay like that. If you try to get up, I'll bash your face in. So I tried to get up. I don't think he'd really do it. Then boom! I had a big shiner. Whoa! Throbbing like that. He said, you move one time, it's the other eye, then I'm going to take your teeth out. So I said, I don't want my teeth out, so I won't move. He said, don't you get sassy with me. I said, Hare Krishna. Oh, you're a Hare Krishna? Whoa. I hate Hare Krishnas because I live downtown, and every Saturday night you people come by with your kirtan party, and you stay down in front of my building, and you chant for 2 hours, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Mare Mare. He really didn't like me. So he said, you're going to do jail time. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to be there. This is trespassing. This is trespassing. You're taking our business time. I'm going to get 3 years in jail. 3 years. I guarantee you, 3 years in jail. What will you do then? I said, I'll chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. He went, ah! The secretary said, don't hit him again. He's a nice boy. He looked at them. He said, you want to be fired? No, no, no. Is he bad? Yes. So he called the chief of police. They called it arrondissement. There's different parts of Paris. The 4th arrondissement, 5th arrondissement. So that was a very prestigious part of town. So he called, like you could say, the chief of police of Paris. And he said, I've got this boy here, and he's causing so much damage to the company, and he's trespassing, and he's sassy, he talks back to me, and he keeps singing that crazy song, Krishna Mishma, Ma, Ma, Ma. He couldn't even say, so sinful, he couldn't say Krishna's name. So the police came. And when they came in, the captain, he said, oh, we're going to get that boy. We're going to get that boy. And I started getting a little bit scared. They brought a pole in, a long pole, and they tied me to the pole like you tie a tiger or a deer when hunters carry them. They tied my arms, they tied my feet. And 4 of them carried, I was swinging like this. And the security guy was kicking me. He said, I know where to kick you. He said, in your kidneys. I don't know if you've ever done boxing, but that's kicking me, punching me like that. I couldn't move. So we got out to the police van, and the captain said, swing him into the van. So like this. Whoa, boom! And then they untied me, and then I had all my books. So the captain, he picked up the books and he threw them in, and the security guard's going, yeah, Captain, you're doing a good job. You're treating him like he should be. He's a nonsense buffoon, this and that. And then they slammed the doors, and the captain in the front seat, they drove off. And I was in such a position that there was a window I could see outside, and all of a sudden, we're on the road, and they turned into the forest. And I thought, now I'm going to get the beating of my life. I thought they were going to beat me. Well, they were. We drove into the, oh, Krishna, Tabakara Kamala Barena Kam Adbhuta Singam. Krishna, Nashringadev, I have full faith in you. Protect me. Boom, 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 boom. I could hear them talking, and it stops. The truck stops. And I could hear them getting out. I could hear the captain speaking. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he was speaking. Like 6 stripes, a big guy. Oh, they opened the door. And there's the captain looking at me. He said, so, do you remember me? I said, no, sir. I didn't want to be nasty with the police. He said, do you remember me? I'm trying to remember, because I was arrested so many times in Paris for going on Harinam. I spent half my life in the jails of Paris, like for a few days for distributing books, Do you remember me? I said, no, sir. Sorry, I don't remember you. I met a lot of police captains. He said, I'm the chief captain in Paris. I said, that's great. He said, you don't remember me? I said, no, sir. He said, okay. He said to his men, take him out of the truck, but take him out gently. What? Take him out gently, take him out carefully, and pick up all those books and dust them off, put them back in his bag, and put him gently down here and give him some water. I say, what's going on? So they took me out, and they're all like that, and they put some cream on my black eye, and one of the policemen actually got some flowers to revive me. Smell this, he said. The flowers, and they give me a little massage. Is this a dream? Was this a dream? And the captain, he came in, he sat down in front of me in a yoga position. He said, young man, you came to my apartment 2 weeks ago with your books. And you made a red line under my wife's nose. It was wonderful. When I kissed her that night, I could smell that strawberry flavor. Yes, he said. He said, but we sat down, don't you remember? And you spoke to us for 2 hours about the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. He said it very nicely. And you told me the most important chapter that I should read was the 9th chapter, because I heard Prabhupada say that to a Frenchman. He said, you read the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And I've been reading that chapter every night for 2 weeks. I'm learning so much. My life's becoming more peaceful. I'm free from my stress. My relationship with my wife is much more nice. My children like me. Our whole family's changed because you came to the door and sold me the Bhagavad Gita. So he said, you're free to go, and I want to apologize. I had to make a big show. When I walked in and saw who you were, I was so angry with the security guard, but I had to make a show because otherwise he would have called another police department. So we had to tie you up and throw you, and he said, please, please forgive me. I've offended a saintly person. I said, look, I'm just a grihasta. I'm just a guy, a married. No, he said, no, you've helped me so much. The Gita is part of our family now. We have put it on a special shelf every day. He said, I'm so sorry. And so they took me and they put me in the front seat. And we drove and we came back. He said, where do you want to go home? I said, no, I want to go back on Sankirtan. So they drove me back to that neighborhood, right? And they let me off. And he said, here's my number. Can we talk sometimes? I said, yeah, sure. Lord Chaitanya is so amazing. So he dropped me off and I knew where I was. I wasn't far from the Champs-Élysées. So I probably shouldn't say this. I went back to the Champs-Élysées and I walked past that office building. And there was a security man outside smoking a cigarette. You should have seen his face. When he saw me walk by, I'm kind of dancing. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And he went, and I went, and I went in the next building. I had 10 books left. I had to distribute them. I got home that night and I had a nice sleep. I had a good shiner. It took 2 weeks for it to go away. So, one more story, okay? I could be here all night, but I like to go to, places where people have never heard about Krishna, and even they have a totally different way of life, maybe even a different religion, because then when you're successful, the victory is very sweet. If the task is very hard, but you complete the task, it's very satisfying. So I always try to go to places. So I like to go to Muslim countries. Talk about a challenge. I go to Muslim countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Dagestan. I went to Samarkand, the original Mecca. And when I go into those countries, I don't dress like this. I dress in Western dress. I put a post up recently where I was in a Muslim country and someone in India said, what kind of sannyasi are you? You're not in sannyasi vesh. You're not in sannyasi clothes. What can you do? But I have to go in like that. So they're always a little suspicious. What's an American man coming into our country, for? You have a tourist visa? You're not coming for business. What's an American coming to a Muslim country for tourism? So they always say, well, what are you here for? I say, Al-Akbar, Alhamdulillah. Come right in. There is no God but God, and Muhammad is his prophet. And I accept that. So I say it with feeling. Al-Akbar, Alhamdulillah. Salam alaikum. Alaikum salam. And they walk me from the desk to the baggage counter. Someone's come to, appreciate our Islamic culture. And I actually spent years studying the Quran and the Bible and the Lotus Sutras of Buddha and the Bhagavad Gita. I benefited from all of them. But I chose this way of life because perfect questions, perfect answers. Bhagavad Gita. So much more I learned. But I hold in deep respect all true practitioners of their religion, aside from the politics it's created. So I go to the Muslim countries, and generally we can't distribute books, we can't chant on the streets, but in some countries they're tolerant. Kazakhstan, if you don't go outside but you meet some neighbors or friends they want to hear, then they allow it. So I was traveling from Kazakhstan to Uzbekistan to Dagestan. Dagestan, it's like kind of with all due respect, a backward country. A lot of violence, a lot of political violence, and so forth and so on. And when I was going to Dagestan with my friend, Bibi Govinda Maharaj and a few brahmacharis, we were driving down, the road to Samarkand. We went to Samarkand and we saw the old mosques and so forth, and we came down. It's a winding road, taking 10, 12, 15 hours to go to Dagestan, because there were a few devotees there who had a little preaching center. So I thought that, they're preaching and they're making young boys and girls in Dagestan devotees. They make them into devotees. All glories to them. They convince them of, the Sanatana Dharma, that we're all devotees of Krishna. So they're taking a big risk. And there was a war going on, civil war. But we thought, well, we'll dodge the bullets. We'll dodge the bullets and the rockets. We'll get in there and we'll give association to those boys and girls, their little preaching center. So we're driving through Dagestan. We had to get there by 12 midnight because there was a curfew. After 12 midnight, it's just fighting and war and bullets, and they had some kind of truce in the Civil War. So if you're not there by 12 o'clock, good reason for them to shoot your car. So we're driving, going down the winding road of Samarkand and this and that, and we're dressed like this. Because we weren't, we didn't have much problems after we got into the country. So I just feel comfortable like this. And the village people in those countries, they don't know much of the outside world. So we didn't have any trouble. So we're driving down in our dhotis and our kurtas, a couple girls are in their sari, we're driving down, and lo and behold, it's around 9 o'clock at night, it's dark, and there's this big field, and there's this huge festival going on. This huge festival, like a couple thousand people, and there's tables and chairs, there's a stage and everything, and people are dressed very nicely, and it's an Islamic festival. So we're driving by, and some man comes out and he stops the car. I go, uh-oh. He looks and he said, who are you? Who are we? We're imams from India. We're Islamic priests from India. These are villagers. Oh, salam alaikum. Alaman salak. He said, you come in at our party. It's an Islamic wedding. You're a priest. You can say something. But first you feast with us. Yeah, okay, so I've got 7 brahmacharis, 3 girls. We're dressed like this. He said, no worry. They're Muslim priests from India. But they're very fair. Don't worry, they're priests. Don't doubt them. They're Islamic priests. They're going to speak from the Quran. And I will translate. So first the feast. So they brought this half of a sheep and put it in front of me. Enjoy. I'm observing Ramadan. You know Ramadan, the Muslim feast? You don't eat until whatever. He says, but Ramadan, that's nighttime. You can eat. I said, no, in India, Ramadan, we fast till midnight. He said, you can't. I said, no, we have a little bit of different tradition there. We wait till midnight until we eat. He said, no sheep? I said, no sheep. I said, thank you very much. He said, I'll pack some for you. You can take it home with you. I said, okay. This big pack, blood coming out. So he said, I see you have some musical instruments. I said, yes. He said, so it's a marriage. You can sing for the crowd. But first come meet the couple getting married. So I was respectful. I came, and the bride, veiled, and the husband. He said, bless them. Bless their marriage. So I put my head on the hand of the groom. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. I've never heard that from the Quran. I said, these are untold stories of the Quran. Like we have, Radhanath Swami has untold stories of the Ramayana, untold. He said, oh, it's a new prayer. I said, yeah. He said, I want to learn it. I said, okay. So I said, give it to the bride too. So I went, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. I said, now I want you to hold hands together. And they held hands together. And I said to them, repeat after me, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And they chanted like that, the couple. I said, this is going to be a very good marriage. So he said, no, I like this song from the unknown song from the Quran. Come on the stage. So we came, we had accordion, mridanga, trumpet, flute. We came on the stage. He said, address the people of my village. I said, okay. He said, salam alaikum, alaikum salam. I said, akbal alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. They said, we like these Indian priests, these Indian imams. So I said, there's an untold part of your tradition, which is true because it's a religion, and religion's Sanatana Dharma, and it's all part of the process. We have deep respect for all the other faiths. So I said, this is all natural for you. I'd like you to sing a song with us. So then 2,000 people, I taught them the mantra. Then I said, as you were dancing, I'm going to teach you how we dance in India. It's called the Mohammed step. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's humorous, but I at the same time, I was very respectful because they were pious people. And they were genuinely following their faith. And I didn't think I was doing anything irreligious because God is one and you can chant any name of God. So it's okay. Like you have 3 names, so God has unlimited names. Yes? So I thought it was okay. It's all right. And I was really enjoying it. So playing the accordion and the drums started going and the djembe and the flute and the trumpet, and we're singing, and I said, now do the Mohammed step, and they're swaying like this, and then within a minute 2,000 people were chanting at the top of their lungs, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, for 2 hours. And the man came up, he said, sir, it's time for the marriage. We forgot about the marriage. We so much enjoyed your song, the unknown song. We're going to keep singing it when you leave. I said, okay. But we got to get going because we had to get to Dagestan before the curfew started and we'd be blown to bits. So I said, we have to go now. He said, you're not going anywhere. I said, why? He said, because there's another marriage in the next village. And we had to go. Same thing. There were less people. There were maybe 600 or 700 people. Big kirtan. They brought me the sheep to eat. I said, Ramadan, in India we do it different, whatever. And this is the unknown song of the Quran. And then we did 4 villages. No, they didn't want us to leave. They were embracing us. Oh, brother, please keep in touch with us. Come back. I said, I'm not coming back. Because once they found out what happened, I don't know what. They'd be serving me on the table. So, but it was a wonderful experience. And when we got to the capital of Dagestan, the fight was on. The RPG. And we drove in, but then the fighting stopped behind us. So I said, we just got to go and depend on Krishna. So we're going to the town. Bullets we had 3 bullets in the car. They're bouncing off here. RPG. Boom. The car went. And I'm looking at the map. Where the hell is the temple? The preaching center. And I couldn't see it because there's no lights. And we're trying to. And finally we take a turn, and then there's devotees there with a reception party. Like I thought, what is this Krishna conscious movement? We just came from an Islamic wedding with great success. We're driving through a civil war. The devotees are so kind. They're outside the preaching center. Hare Krishna, doing the Muhammad step. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So these are some of the stories, unlimited stories of the traveling monk. I do have 15 diary books online. You can go to, it's Narottam, he's a great preacher, narottam.com. There's a diary section there with all my diaries. And also this evening, I've brought a book. Here's the book. My servants are spaced out. The high moment, like a symphony. Da-da-da-da-da-da. The book, Haribo! This is about my home. Because, traveling monk, it's quite austere. You sleep in a different bed every night. It's hot, it's cold, it's this, it's that, but it's just so pleasurable to travel and preach. The austerities seem very insignificant. But when I need a break, where do I go? I go home. There's no place like home. So a sannyasi has a home? Yes. Our home is Sri Vrindavan Dham. There's the official kingdom of God, Vaikuntha, where he's worshipped with awe and reverence. And then there's Vrindavan, it's the playground of God, where he plays with his friends and his associates. So in Vrindavan, there's many holy places. There's many saints. There's been many acharyas who have lived there. There's many leelas, many pastimes that take place. There's many historical facts and histories there. So during the pandemic, I couldn't travel anymore. Radharani slammed the door to my apartment, and because of COVID, I couldn't walk outside for 2.5 years. So what did I do? I researched everything I could find about Vrindavan, and I gave lectures every Friday, which were transcribed by my disciples. We're up to 450 lectures now. It's all on my YouTube channel, Indradyumna Swami YouTube. If you want, you can subscribe. For 4 years, I've been lecturing about Vrindavan, so we decided to put all the lectures in a book form. There'll be 25 books. And this is the first book. This is The Sacred Forest of Vrindavan, western bank of the Jamuna. Believe me, hours, days, weeks, years have gone into researching every speck of dust in Vrindavan, all the saints, all the holy places, with some philosophical commentary of what's actually happening. So I would say if you go to Vrindavan, this could be your Parikrama guidebook. It's done in a very beautiful fashion. There's many paintings, paintings worth 1,000 words. There's many paintings to describe, numerous chapters, and next year we'll come back with part 2, the eastern bank of the Jamuna. And if I live long enough, I'm 75, so if I lived 100, then I'll come back every year and with a new book about the glories of Vrindavan to help you. It's a service to you, actually. You know, we're selling them. They're really expensive. They're, for IT students, they're 2,500 rupees. But actually it's a gift because it will open the doors of the spiritual world to all of you. You can go to Vrindavan and take it with you. It'll be your constant companion. Everything's described about Braj. And if you can't go to Vrindavan, then in your home or your university room, you can open it up. Shravanam Kirtanam brings Vrindavan Shmaranam. You'll be in Vrindavan just by reading out loud these wonderful pastimes which awaken that Bhakti-lat beach, that creeper of love that's in our heart. You water that creeper by Shabda Brahma, by transcendental sound. So I've done it for all of you and anyone who wants to fall in love with Vrindavan. We want to fall out of love with Hyderabad and fall into love with Vrindavan. So here's a perfect way you can do it. It's, again, I'm not here to make money. I'm just here to serve you. And the best gift I can give you is an opportunity to fall in love with Braj. So we have a table. Why don't you put it over here? It's dark. And I'm going to sit there. Somebody gave me a pen, a Mont Blanc pen. You know, that's like a Rolex, of the pens on the flight. A man said, "Can I get one of those books?" I said, "Yes, I can sign it." I had this old pen I've been carrying for 10 years. He said, he took it out of his pocket. "Let me give you my Mont Blanc pen." Very nice pen. So I said, I'll accept it. And if anyone buys a book about Braj, about the love of our life, I'd be very happy to sign the book with a little dedication. And so you can, remember this wonderful program we had to inspire you to take up the adventure of sharing your good fortune with others in any way you can. You don't have to travel to Dagestan or Uzbekistan. You can preach here in this beautiful city of Hyderabad or the areas like that. Remind people who they really are, enliven them, invite them to the temple. You're all students. You can study this book and balance your life with IT, information technology, and the knowledge of Sri Vrindavan Dham K. So I want to thank all of you. It's been wonderful spending this time with you. I really enjoyed my trip here in South India. South India is, I enjoy it more than North India. The culture is more enshrined here. People are still, the ladies still dress in saris, and then you go to the temples, and the culture is much more intact here than the North. So I'm planning to come back every year and do a tour here. And if you'd allow me, I'd love to come back, be with all of you again. Okay? So are we supposed to have a kirtan and then sell the book?
Kirtan and then book signing.
Aha. So first kirtan, but you can only buy a book if you touch the ceiling in the kirtan. You know what that means? You have to dance. Okay? So we'll do a little kirtan and dancing, and then I'll sit there after the dancing and I'll... It's the Chinese government. So don't go. Yeah.
No, they won't go now. They all want to be taken. They won't here. They want to maximum more than 10 books.
They bring you. They set it up. Can you set it in the front? Not so close. Yeah.
Seek Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Nityananda Sri Advaita Govinda. Jaya Sri Krishna Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Woo! Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Jai Shri Ram. Nitai Gauranga Jai Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jai Nitai Gauranga Hola Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jai Gaur Hari Hola Nitai Gauranga Jai Gaur Hari Yo Hola Nitai Gauranga Jai Gaur Hari Hola Nitai Gauranga Jai Gaur Hari Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Go Prem 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 Premanande. Jai Go Prem 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 Premanande. Rukminam Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ke. Look Prem Don Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ke. Shri Yugadharma Ke. Shri Ram Prabhu Ke. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ke. Back home, back to Godhead Ke. Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ke. Gita Baba Ke. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ke. Go Prem 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 Ke. Haribo!
Chanting, dancing, and prashadam. Shri Bhagavat Prashadam. Haribo!
Hare Krishna. If